Hello, in this demo I'm going to show you how to confirm research activity data that's been received from LPMS in CPMS Release 3.0. So I'm logged in here as a National Portfolio Manager, but this is something that National Portfolio Managers and our study teams will be able to do. Our study teams will be going through the Confirm Research Activity link, and National Portfolio Managers will be going through studies requiring action and then going into research activity confirmation. So at the moment we just have a couple of studies in our user test system here that have data attached to them. I'm just going to show you one just as a demonstration. So when study teams go into the research activity confirmation page for their study, the first thing that they'll see is a CPMS ID. They'll have some information about their study. This one doesn't have a planned recruitment closure date. I think I just chose one that was in setup or was in draft, so that's why that's not completed in this instance. We then have on the right hand side here a dashboard which shows all of the information that's been received to date for the study, whether the data received has been for consented, recruited or failed screening, because we will get those data points through for all of our studies where those data points are appropriate, and also how much information needs to be confirmed. So we can see that for this study there's lots of data that has already been confirmed for previous months as accurate. There's some data that's confirmed as not accurate, and that's awaiting update. And then there's some information here that requires reconfirmation. So that suggests that it's been confirmed as accurate or not accurate at some point, and then it's come back in with a different total, so it just needs another check. And then we have all of the data that requires confirmation. So this is usually going to be the data just for the last recruitment month that will come under requires confirmation if people are regularly checking. If we move down the screen, because we'll be asking people to really have a look at the data for up until the end of the last month, they can just make a change in the data here to change that so that they can see that data only. And the reason for that is that during any kind of given month, we expect that data to change. We're receiving a line of data for each site, for each participant status, so consented or recruited or failed screening, and that can change. So it'll just be an aggregate for the site. So 4 consented at the Royal Marsden, but tomorrow it might be 5, so we'll receive that updated. If people are confirming in between, then there's a problem that they might then be asked to reconfirm all the time their data, and they don't want to have to do that. So if I'm a study representative and I know that actually I'm pretty up to date with my data, and I know that in the last month we did have 1 consent, 5 failed screening and 7 recruited, then I can just go ahead and check that data and say, yes, that's completely correct, and I would be able to save it and that information would disappear. If I'm just interested to see where that data's come, where that data has come from, from which site, I can go into the study site level view here and see that information. So here you can see a line by line. We've got consented, recruited and failed screening information for each site, but we're not sure what month or year that's come in. Again, if I know that I'm quite up to date with my data, then I would know that would have to be for the last month. And we can also see the requires reconfirmation data here, and we know that that's come from Birmingham Children's Hospital, so they've updated some previous data. And moving on into the detailed view, we can now see all of that information, and we have the time periods as well. So we know that Birmingham Children's Hospital in October 2018, they've said that they haven't consented any recruitment. If I think that's incorrect, all I have to do is go in. I can say my count is here. I think there was 1 person consented. And I can also, if I want, add a comment for the site. So for example, And then if I save that, that line will disappear. That's now confirmed, and I don't have to do anything further with that. And I can also now see that the information that's come from Birmingham Children's Hospital is updated information for February of last year. So they've now said, oh, there's something that we need to change, and I can maybe say, yeah, that's just correct, and do that. If I think the rest of my data is accurate, then I can just go ahead and save it. And I can always, have a look at different information using these filters. So if, for example, I wanted to check my not accurate and I thought, oh, I made a mistake there, that wasn't correct, then I would just dig back and say, actually, I know I said that this was 1, but actually they're correct. It was 0 for October. I'm thinking of someone saying in November, and that can be changed at any time, whereas this information might still be correct. So I want to keep that information there.